Hello, I'm Lucy from Cruickshanks and I'm here today with a little bit of a mashup video for you. I'm going to do a little bit of a wrap, tell you what I've been reading this month. We're going to have a little bit of a women's prize chat. Shortlist day tomorrow, you guys, shortlist day tomorrow. And I'm going to tell you a little bit as well about what I plan to read next month. The eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that I am missing my glamorous assistant who usually comes along for the chit chat videos, but alas, he is not here. To the best of my knowledge, he has not run away with the pool boy, but he is working a lot and travelling a lot, and I feel bad hassling him every time he walks through the door about making YouTube videos. So he will be back, I promise, but you've just got me for this particular chat. But it means that I would love especially to chat to you. Please do tell me, what was the best thing you read last month? Have you been reading the Women's Prize? What's the best Women's Prize book that you've read so far? What's going to make the shortlist? I don't know. Tell me in the comments below your thoughts. I'd love to have a chat. But before I start on all that stuff, I just want to say a massive, great, big thank you. Because at the start of this month, on April 7th, my book was released into the wild. So it's my third novel, but it's been a few years since my other two were published. It's here, conveniently enough, The Liberation's Child. It's a dystopian thriller set in a near future post-genocide London and follows two struggling survivors on the search for a missing child. And yeah, I just want to say a massive, massive thank you to everyone who sent me such nice messages and to everyone who bought the book or said they're going to buy the book or said they're going to tell a friend about the book. I really, really genuinely do appreciate it. It's been fun. It's been fun. I'll link it down below if you want to know more. I'll also link my local indie bookshop, local-ish. They used to be my local. I've technically moved. They're so amazing. I just go back because I love them. P&G Wells in Winchester. And the point of the linking them, oh yeah, you can get signed copies. They've still got some signed copies left. So if you hit them up, it's on the website, or you can call them or email them. You can get a signed copy from there. So anyway, thank you so much. Please do keep reading it and buying it and telling your friends. And I am genuinely very, very grateful. So tick, thanks are done. I'm going to put it down there. Don't have a little table. I need a table. Should we talk about the Women's Prize? So Scott and I said when the Women's Prize came out, what was it? About 8 weeks ago maybe, that we were going to read all of the books before shortlist. Before the shortlist came out. Hands up everyone who thought that we were actually possibly going to do it. Is it just me? Is it just me that thought that we could do it? We couldn't do it. You know, we made a dent, but we didn't get to the end. We went away last week and I very optimistically took 3 books with me from the Women's Prize long list and I didn't read a single page, which is what you get when you go away with small children. But, you know, we made a dent. So what I'm going to talk about is, because we haven't read them all, it's not really fair, I don't think. Well, who cares whether it's fair? It's just totally not going to be accurate to say what we think is going to be on the shortlist. So this is more like opinions and wishes rather than actual might have a hope in hell of being the case. I should also say that I have read a couple that aren't, that I haven't like filmed the reviews for actually, or that I haven't edited the reviews for, but I'll get them up. One of which is Salt Lick by Lulu Allison. So this was the book I was most looking forward to because it's a dystopian, and for obvious reasons I'm loving dystopias at the moment. And there was a lot that I liked about it, but it perhaps wasn't quite what I wanted it to be. Scott and I grew up actually in the countryside. It's sort of like a fable about the decline of the countryside. And Scott and I grew up in Cornwall. We lived in villages next to each other, a few miles apart. And it's this part of this novel that was set in the countryside really, really spoke to me about sort of like the poverty there and the hardships and sort of how there's this feeling of always coming second to the cities and this feeling of decline, and that bit really, really spoke to me. But other bits not so much. I'm basically doing the whole review now, aren't I? I will stop there, except to say, if anyone's read this book, can you come talk to me about the feral cows? Because it's got like a Greek chorus in it. But instead of being a Greek chorus of Greek chorusing, it's it's the perspective of feral cows. And when I first heard this, I was like, I can totally get behind a chorus of feral cows. I was excited about the chorus of feral cows, but in practice, sentences I didn't think I'd expect to say today. I couldn't get behind the cows. I couldn't get behind the cows. So a lot to like. Some stuff I didn't like. I've done a whole review on that, so you can watch that when I've edited it. But that seems to be one of the less covered books. But right, the reason I'm talking about it is whether or not it's going to be on the shortlist. Oh, it could be, it could be. It's quite, do you know what? I almost thought it felt a bit more Booker than it did Women's Prize, because it is quite literary. But I think it's a possibility. I'm aware they're all possibilities because that's the nature of the long list, but it's a possibility. I'm going to drop it on the floor as well. Okay, the one I think really will be on the shortlist, are the ones I've read, is The Bread the Devil Need, because I think it is so accomplished. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy reading it, but I kind of was a bit in awe of it. It's really dark. It's really graphic. It's really uncomfortable. But portrayed in a really, it's sort of like an important way. I felt like it was important what I was reading. And I felt that the writing was excellent. The voice is just an astonishing achievement. So even though it wasn't my favourite, I think out of all the books I've read, this one is the most likely to be on the list. Drop. Okay. My books aren't in order. I've mucked up my pile. Hold on a minute. Right, I also think this one will be on the list. Is a good read. It's only the second Shafak book that I've read, but it's it's pretty similar in terms of like tone and where it's pitching it, and it's kind of an on-brand one. And I did enjoy it, and I'm not even articulating very well why, do you? I just think it's going to be there. If you read it, what did you think? I think it's going to be there. Oh, it's such a messy pile now. I'm getting annoyed at dropping them. I'm not going to be able to do this. Look, I've marked up my piles as well. Hold on a minute. Right. Careless. I loved this book, Careless by Kirsty Capes, and I hope it makes the shortlist. But it feels quite simple compared to the other books that I read. Now, simple isn't a criticism. Actually, Lee Child's books are incredibly simple, but are they easy to write? By heck, they're not. Writing something simple is incredibly hard, and it's got real emotional depth, and absolutely resonated for me. But when you put it next to the other ones, I mean, like Salt Lick and that, like chalk and cheese, they're just so far. I don't know. I feel like it might not make the shortlist, but I loved it. This one is the book that I would love to see on the shortlist, but I don't think it'll get there. Build Your House Around My Body. Oh my gosh, this was my favourite that I read, because it was just, look, I'm grinning. It was so much fun. It was just such an incredible feat of imagination from start to finish. There were bits of it that I was like, I don't even know what I'm reading. But I loved it because it was so full of joy. I mean, it's quite dark as well in places, and it's not, it's not necessarily a joyful topic. But it's just, well, it's not a joyful topic because it's set about two missing women in Vietnam. And, a malevolent air ghost that gets inside people and takes over their bodies. So it's not uplifting or joyful at all, but it is, because it's just such psychedelic, exciting, original imagination, and I just loved it. But I don't think it'll be on the shortlist because the main character is missing some big chunks that leave her a little bit incomplete, and I think the judges won't be able to overlook that. Like, she doesn't exist before the first page of this book, basically, and that is a little bit problematic. It didn't affect my enjoyment of the book at all, but does it make it totally prize-worthy? Possibly not. So that was that one. Right, we're moving on to Scott's books, which I have no authority to comment on whatsoever. He read these two. I think he might have read another one. He's been carrying it around the house from room to room. He took it on holiday. Whether he's actually opened the covers, I don't know. But anyway, Flamingo and Remote Sympathy. I'm not sure if it's on camera. I'm going to leave this way. I think he was pretty sure this one wouldn't be on there. He enjoyed it, but only to a point, not spectacular. And I haven't seen anyone swinging from the rafters for this particular title. This one, people seem to be actively not swinging from the rafters about, but Scott quite liked it. So again, very on brand, my husband. So I think he wouldn't be disappointed if this one made it onto the list. But yeah, I don't really know what I'm talking about because I didn't read either of these. And that is the end of my totally unreliable Women's Prize rap / shortlist predictions. Who's going to win it? Who's going to be on the shortlist? I don't know. Have you read any? Talk to me. I am going to read a couple more that particularly take my fancy because, you know, they're kicking around, aren't they? Some of them are down there. I can't remember that. Oh, look. That one. I want to read that one. That one looks good. And do you know what? I don't think I've heard anyone's opinion on that yet. What's it like? Should I bother? Tell me. It's got a glossy thing on it. Sorry if you can getting blinded. But that's the one I quite fancy reading. So we'll see how it goes. Oh, I can't put it back on the shelf. It gets dropped as well. Right. This month, what I am going to be reading. So I'm going to read Will Dean's new book, Firstborn, which I can't find. I am hoping that it's in the car and not on a park bench. I do have a copy, Will, I promise. But I really want to read that one because I've really enjoyed his Tuva books in the past. The like Swedish detective series, loved those. And I read Time to Burn, which was his first book couple of years ago now, maybe, which was like his first not part of the Tuva series, set around a Vietnamese woman who was trafficked to Britain. We've got a lot of Vietnam going on, and I liked that, but I didn't love it like the Tuva books. I think they were pitched at kind of a different audience. I would say like the Tuva ones are a little bit more highbrow, like the language is a bit more like descriptive, whereas Time to Burn was like very commercial in terms of it was more like simple, bang to the point, yeah, sort of straight down the line, with no frilly bits. It was dark, but I liked it, but didn't love it. But I'm going to try Firstborn anyway, when I find where I've put it. The other two that I'm going to read this month, I don't even want to know what my face just did then. Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. I'm feeling particularly excited about this because it's not even out till Thursday. And thank you very much, Waterstones, for sending me a copy early. That made it sound like I'm on the inside, and got it for free. I didn't. Nobody does that. Not for me. I got it from Waterstones. They just sent it out early. And let me tell you something. Right, authors and publishers, not a fan of that because if it gets sent out early, it doesn't count towards your first week's sales. So I've heard stories of people who have like missed out on being like a Sunday Times top 10 bestseller by like 100 books, and then they find out like the Waterstones or Amazon or some other retailer has accidentally sent out like a few boxes of books early. So if those boxes were sent out on release day when they should have been, they'd have been technically a bestseller. And that has got to be like proper crushing. But she's going to do really well anyway. And I'm happy to have my copy. So, you know, sorry, Emily. If it happened to me, I'd be gutted. I mean, I'm not in that territory. But anyway, I'm excited. It's a dystopian. I absolutely loved her. What the heck is it called? I loved it that much. I can't remember what it's called. Station 11. And I believe this is in a similar style, but it's following like massive jumps in time. And I don't know. I don't even know what it's about, to be perfectly honest, but it was a sexy cover. It's by Emily St. John Mandel, and I'm totally here for it. The other book that I'm going to read this month is this one, Hex by Jenny Fagan. I mean, it's a tiny little novella, but it's got this gorgeous, gorgeous crow on the front. I love it. And it's published by my publisher, the same one, so Polygon, who are owned by Berlin Books. So I thought, you know, I'd give it a try. And it is a story about witchcraft in Scotland, I believe. And I just thought it sounded good. And I thought, you know, it's only a tiddler, so why not give it a try? It's a tiddler with big print as well. So yeah, that's my month. These two, Firstborn and whichever left of the Women's Prize I fancy. Don't know what Scott's reading this month, actually. He had a box of books delivered a couple of days ago. I should have unpacked it and shown you, but maybe I'll make him make his own video. I miss him, the chatty videos. I'll bring him back next time. I will hassle him. I said I won't hassle him. I'm going to hassle him. But that's it. What are you reading next month? How was your month? I hope you've had a lovely time. I hope the sun is shining. Wherever you are, UK, we are getting some good sunshine at the moment, and we have to make the most of it because we don't get a lot of it. So I hope the sun is shining wherever you are, and I'll be back when I've edited my Salt Lick review. Thanks very much for watching. Take care. Bye.